Hey, beautiful people. Thanks for tuning in to Cherish Your Beauty TV. It's me, Cherish Frazier, and this is going to be a discussion topic / get ready with me. I will be getting ready and discussing my thoughts of braids and how I feel about other people wearing them other than black and what they're called. All right, you guys, so pretty much I am kind of glad that I'm discussing this right now, this whole braid situation and how I feel about it, because I just feel like people have different thoughts and views about it, and that's fine. So why not myself chime in and discuss my thoughts and opinions about it. But I just kind of happened to run across Jaleesa's Moses. I think her YouTube channel is under Say the Least. But I've been on YouTube, and I ran across her channel the other day, and I witnessed that a few people had commented on one of her videos, and her video was pretty much about, just a natural makeup look and braids. Like, I guess she did 2 braids. And, I watched her video, and I noticed in the comments, because I normally don't look at other people's comments for some reason, but I just happened to kind of wanted to see, people's thoughts about the video and everything. And I guess a couple people were a little bit upset about her calling them boxer braids, the 2 braids. And I don't know, I started reading, and people were just like really being nasty and like having this negative energy just kind of flowing through. And I guess I saw her make a statement like, one girl was like, you should change the name of your video because you're about to start a riot in your comment box. And she was like, oh, well, let them start a riot because it's just hair. So then that kind of really opened up some doors for people to kind of really start to lay in on their thoughts and feelings about what they're called and where they come from. And a few people are like, oh, we're gonna unsubscribe and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, but I kind of started feeling some type of way. And the reason why is because I am, African American, of course. I just say black. I know there's a lot of technical names and people really kind of sticking to that originality in the culture part of it, and that's cool. But I witnessed a few people kind of really feeling some type of way about her saying it's just hair. Well, just to kind of just throw out there, to me personally, I think it's just hair as well. My feeling about it is that growing up in predominantly white school, neighborhood, I feel like, I never got any backlash about myself wearing braids and, growing up pretty much wearing braids my whole life from, other races besides my own kind. Growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood and all that, of course I got questions like, oh, do you wash your hair, or is it your real hair, or does it hurt, and questions like that. But those questions didn't offend me. What offended me was the fact that people of my own kind, when I got into like middle school and realized it's a whole different world and people coming from all over, that girls that were black were coming up to me, and I have a twin sister as well, and they were coming up to us and saying, oh, you girls think you're white, and you guys calling us Oreos. Oh, you guys are white on the inside, but black on the outside. We wore braids, and I love my braids. And, oh, you guys are chicken heads, and because you wear braids and this and that. And then, the guys, oh, you guys are blacky, or stuff like that. That stuff hurt. And that stuff was the stuff coming from my own people. And because I never really witnessed the racism, honestly, if there was, I was pretty much oblivious to it because I chose to not look at negativity. That's just how I was raised. I was raised to be confident, and my mom taught us about my heritage, and you know, we had flashcards, and it was just a really loving home. And you know, stepping into, you know, the predominantly white area that I lived in and schools, it was the same, loving, and I didn't feel any indifference or anything, only from my own kind once I got a little older. So I was like, wow, you know, all through middle school and high school was really hell for me. And it was just not a good feeling. And so I made up in my mind that, you know, I don't care about black, white, all that. And I didn't care about it from a very young age, since I was, can't remember, since I was born pretty much, because my family is mixed up. My family, you know, we have different races and all that in my family, and I was just like, you know, this is not a big deal. So when I realized that I have the power to choose who I want to surround myself with, what I want to affiliate myself with, and the battles that I get to choose, I realized I'm not going to choose this race thing. I don't care who wears braids. I don't care what black boy, whatever wants, what they want to date. I don't care about all of that. What I care is about respect, and among everybody, just the human race in general, love, peace, and all of that stuff. That's all I really care about. I get that, you know, we were oppressed, and I don't want to get too much into it, but we weren't the only ones oppressed. Just the history books doesn't really tell about a lot of stuff, and you know, growing up in these schools, they sure don't teach you a lot of the truth. So it's kind of like we have to do our research for ourselves. But being blacks, and you know, heard about slavery and everything, yeah, I can understand why you get mad, and we can understand why we want to defend what is ours, where it came from and everything. Braids did originate from Africa and all of that. So I can get why somebody may get offensive, but pretty much putting the time and the energy into trying to prove a point, or try to get somebody to see where something came from and just the culture about it, it's kind of like, to me, it's like wasting your precious time. When, if a person really wants to know something, they'll research it, they'll figure it out on their own. Just like the times change and people evolve and things evolve, you know, same thing with things, you know, trickling up, trickling down from different cultures and generations and so forth. So having that mind frame, like, oh, that person is calling something box braids when they're really cornrows, or they're really, you know, plaits or whatever, that to me, it's kind of like a catch-22. It's like everybody wants to know, or wants to kind of point out what somebody is doing, or where something came from, and who did it first. But it's like, it's a never-ending game, and it's like, why play that? It's not worth it. But it just was a little bit, you know, disappointing to see my, you know, people just kind of get really enraged about that whole situation. And my thing is, say, do you focus on what you can do as an individual, because we all have certain gifts, talents, and I would say focus on that. Yeah, so I just feel like, you know, anybody should be able to do, feel, say. That's just the beauty of being a human. It's God created us all out of the image of Him, and but just different shades, different, you know, abilities, gifts, attributes, and all that, and that's a beautiful thing. So when it comes to us trying to put each other down and make someone feel like what they're doing is not good enough or something like that, I just feel like that's just the negative route. That's just spewing out negative energy, and nobody wants to put up with that, and nobody wants to deal with that unless you're the one that seeks that type of attention and that type of negative energy. There's just a good side and there's a bad side, and I always choose to be on the positive side of things. So I can see why she said it's just hair, because it's like, why give into something like that? So to me, it is a small thing, being black myself, because we're not limited to our hair and things like that. We're not limited to our skin color. So it's like, why make a big deal out of something like that? Because I know I've, had a lot more bad energy coming from my own people about certain things. And to me, it makes me think, like, why does it seem like we're the ones putting each other down? Why does it seem like we're the ones that aren't lifting each other up? Why does it seem like we're the ones that are always having something to say towards one another? But then when the next person says it, different race does it, it's like, then we want to come together, and then we want to make peace, and then no, you guys, we need to get our stuff together first as a people. And I think it's just something that's across the board. Respect and love across the board. I mean, we're all the same, honestly. Come from the same. We just have different experiences at different times and different views on situations. And that's fine. That's what makes us different and beautiful in our own perspective ways. So it doesn't really give us a right to try to force somebody to see something just because we see it and just because we know it. Yeah, I know my history. I was able to know that from a very young age, thanks to my, mother and everything. But I don't feel the need to have to prove myself to be even more black, even though I got that from a lot of, kids that were black, growing up, like, oh, you're white because I spoke well, or whatever the case is. And to me, it's like having my own kind saying you're supposed to act like this because you're black, you're supposed to act ghetto, or you're supposed to act like this, and you're not supposed to talk like this, and you're supposed, to me, I was just like, that's funny, because no, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy with the people that I accept, and the people that accept me and that choose to be around me. So honestly, I didn't feel the need to try to prove myself to anyone or anything. And I feel like that's the same thing what we need to kind of think about and focus on, is just being us and being our unique selves, and not try to make someone see something just because we feel that it's the need for someone to know. Like, people will find out on their own. Some people just have to go through something. Some people have to, and some people never will see things. So it's like, to each their own. Choose your battles. Love yourself. Let people do them. Because as long as you're doing you, you shouldn't even have time or energy to be worrying about the next person. And I say, like, yeah, not being selfish and not being, cut off from, the world and just worrying about yourself. But yes, you have to take care of you first and be happy with you. And I'm telling you, once you get to that point, anything anybody does or say or do, it just will not affect you. You won't have the time to always comment on it or something. And I'm just feel the need to just kind of talk about it, because I want us as a people just to do better, think better, want better, and all of that, instead of putting our time into things that aren't really going to help us grow or catapult us. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to finish up my makeup here. And here are the results of the makeup that I was just putting on. And I hope you guys just don't drive yourself crazy. Just cherish your beauty. Do you, and love, and peace out.